Yo, 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 what is up, daters? It's your boy Bios, and you are all my updaters. So, I've been getting a lot of comments about, when my next video is coming out, and I've been, behind the scenes trying to work through what I want to talk about. And I figured, since these videos take me a long time to make, what better to spend the last month and a half making a 100% accurate tier list? Now, I don't think anyone in the history of Flesh and Blood has ever made a tier list that is 100% accurate, and I'm here to change that. At BIOS Update, you can expect no less than the best. So, before we get started, we have to talk about what each of the tiers is going to mean for today's tier list. In S tier, we have cards that are the absolute best. These are premium cards that you always want to run in your deck, whether you're playing a mechanologist, an assassin, a mechanologist, a ranger, a mechanologist, a guardian, a mechanologist. And in the top of S tier, we have Crown of Providence. This piece of equipment is generic, but it is incredible, has a ton of value, is very valuable, has been reprinted several times, and that has earned it its spot in S tier. In A tier, we have cards that are good, but may not be able to be run in every single deck. For instance, you might want to run it in Mechanologist, but maybe you can't run it in Assassin or Ranger or Guardian. In A tier, we have 0 to 60. 0 to 60 is a powerful, above rate Mechanologist staple with the word boost on it. The boost keyword says boost. Now, 0 to 60 is such a good card that playing the card actually will get you a ticket for playing it, and that's why 0 to 60 goes at the top of A rank. In the middle of B tier, we've got cards that are okay, could be better, could be worse, and I think Shred is a really good example of a card like this. If your opponent doesn't defend, Shred can't necessarily decrease the defense value of a card defending an Assassin Tactics combat chain. However, I'm pretty tired of having my Nitro Mechanoids and Mechrapotents being shredded by Shred, so I'm putting it down in B tier. In C tier, we have cards that are just a little bit worse, and Wage Gold is an example of this. Now, this card is universal, so it can be played in any class. However, it's only a blue block too, and if your opponent blocks it out, they get a gold token, and as a mechanologist player, I want all the items, I want all the gold, so I'm putting it down in C tier. And then lastly, in F tier, we have cards that you shouldn't play, and Cracked Bauble has to be at the top of F tier. It is the quintessential card that you don't want to be running. In fact, I've never seen a player use a Cracked Bauble in their Classic Constructed list, so it's going in F tier for now. So, starting at the tier list, we've got our S through F tiers, and we're going to be using these rankings for a couple of cards. So let's see what is at the top. All right, Twin Drive. So 0 to 60 was fantastic. Twin Drive is even better. Doesn't have one boost, it has two boosts. In my Mechanologist Bright Lights tier list I did about a year and a half ago, I put it in S tier back then. It's the best card in the game, costs a ton of money. That is still true despite a reprint, so this is going up in S tier. Now, next card, namesake of the channel, BIOS Update. A lot of people have mixed opinions, but everyone wants to ask, is BIOS Update any good? There are some people that love the card, there's some people that absolutely hate the card, and then there's some people that are indifferent about the card. So I think because of community consensus and because I want this to be a 100% accurate tier list, I have to put BIOS Update in B tier for BIOS. Moving on to BIOS Update the channel. Now, haven't put out a video in about a month and a half, and personally, I've never seen any of BIOS Update's videos, so I don't know how good they are. Let me know in the comments how you feel about BIOS Update, the video, the card, etc. Until I hear from you guys, I'm going to have to put BIOS Update the channel down in F tier. Moving on to Scar for a Scar. Now, a lot of people might think that this is a good card. For instance, they look at it and they say, oh, it's like 0 to 60. It's a 0 for 4. It has conditional go again, but I say it's not conditional go again. Your opponents can play around this card. They can always make sure that they have less life, so Scar for a Scar loses go again. And if you have to block with this card, it only blocks 2 rather than 3. And lastly, if you banish this card off the top of your deck to pay a boost cost, the attack does not get go again. So this card is just a liability. It's going in the bottom of F tier. Now, some good Mechanologist cards. We talked about 0 to 60. Now we've got Throttle and Zipper Hit, a 2 for 6 and a 1 for 5. Both of these are overrate boost attacks, and much like their brother 0 to 60, these cards also remind you that you'll get a ticket for playing 0 to 60. Because of this, I'm going to have to put them both up in A tier. Moving on to Back Alley Breakline. This is a generic, and if you boost it, you don't technically get Go Again, but if it is put face up into a zone from your deck, you gain an action point. Because of that, I've got to put it up in A tier. Now, Rise Above is another interesting generic card. Some people might think that this card is actually worse than Sink Below because it costs 2, or you can put a card from your hand on the top of your deck. However, if you put a Mechanologist card on the top of your deck, you can guarantee that the other Mechanologist card in your hand that you play, when you boost, will get Go Again. And for that reason, I'm going to put Rise Above also in A tier. Speaking of Sink Below does the exact opposite, so I'm going to put it down in C tier. Firewall, on the other hand, is a Mechanologist card, does block 4, and can help you keep Evos on the top of your deck. Because of this, I got to put it all the way up in S tier because Teklevossen is also S tier right now, so it's got to stay there, and we're not going to take any questions. Moving on to Optical Monocle. This card is also another great Mechanologist card. This card has the most Steam counters on any Mechanologist item, so for that reason, I have to put it up in S tier. Moving on to Eye of Ophidia. Will Optical Monocle let you opt 5 times for 1? Eye of Ophidia only lets you opt 2. And in fact, this card is power crept by Whisper of the Oracle that also opts 2, but at the same time, it blocks for 3. Because of this, I'm going to have to put Eye of Ophidia down in F tier for the Fabled tier. Now, Titanium Bauble is a blue block 3, and because of this, I got to put it in B tier. Now, Command & Conquer is in C tier, but I want to explain myself a little bit first. So, as a Mechanologist player, I don't play defense reactions. So, the first part of Command & Conquer doesn't really do anything. Also, all of my cards block 3 or 0, so I can just cover this card up with 2 3 blocks, and I don't really play cards out of my arsenal. So, because of that, Command & Conquer doesn't really bother me. I'm going to give it a C tier ranking. Moving on to Snatch. Now, Snatch, no matter what people say, this Snatch is a 3 power attack. And that is just not coming in for a breakpoint. Sure, if it hits, you draw a card, but it's really easy to cover up. And so for that, I'm also going to put it in C tier. Now, Hunter or Hunted. While this card is not a Mechanologist card, this card is incredibly powerful. I've had so many 0 to 60s, so many zipper hits, so many throttles banished from attacking an Arachne and getting this card played against me. This card is incredibly annoying to play against. It's super powerful. It says, hey, we're both going to boost your deck, and so because of that, I got to put it up in A tier. Now, Remembrance. You might be thinking that Remembrance is the power card that can help fight against the Arachne card. However, this only takes cards from your graveyard and puts them back into the deck. So, because of that, it's not quite as good, so I'm going to put it down in B tier. However, I also have another card that I want to talk about, which is pretty similar. And Backup Protocol Yellow, while it doesn't put 3 cards back into your deck, it lets you put a Mechanologist attack action card that's yellow from your graveyard into your hand. So it's a similar effect to Remembrance, and because of that, I'm also going to put it in B tier. Now, Teklo-Core. Teklo-Core is incredibly powerful, even more powerful than Backup Protocol Yellow, as I think everyone watching this video knows. Now, Teklo-Core is a dash specialization, so you can only play it in Dash Inventor Extraordinaire, Dash IO, Dash Database, or Dash period. Now, Teklo-Core essentially says the next 2 turns, you're essentially going to pitch a Cracked Bauble at the start of your turn. Now, while I said Cracked Baubles are F tier, you can also replace that yellow for a Backup Protocol Yellow. And that's a pretty good card, in which case I'm going to put Teklo-Core, twice as good as Backup Protocol Yellow, up in S tier. Moving on to Golden Skywarden. Now, there's this interesting mechanic with Golden Skywarden that I really want to talk about. And it hasn't really happened in the history of the game, but it is one that I think will come up sometime soon. So let's say you have a board of 9 golden cogs on the board, and your opponent attacks you, and you defend with Golden Skywarden, choosing to galvanize. You galvanize the items you control, which are the 9 golden cogs. You create 9 gold tokens, repeating the process each time, giving it plus 9 defense. So not only do you have 9 gold and a card that's blocking for 11, but you can also play Knick-Knack Bric-a-Brac, one of the most powerful chain staples on the following turn, destroying those 9 golds to play 9 Marvel amulets from High Seas. Now, this is one of the most expensive plays in the game, but can be incredibly powerful if you can pull this multiple card combo off, making Golden Skywarden an S tier card. Now, Arg Smash is the only counter to Golden Skywarden. It's a reason why I don't like playing against brutes, never have, but this lets them roll a 6-sided die and destroy up to X items where X is half the number rolled, rounded down. Now, while it does destroy the combo to some degree with the Knick-Knack Bric-a-Brac Golden Skywarden combo, it doesn't destroy all of the items, and for that, I'm going to put the card in B tier because it's just middle of the pack. Moving on to Tremor of Irathiel. This card is not really seen a lot of play, but it is above Zipper Hit in terms of its rate. Rather than coming in for a 1 for 5, if you've banished a card in the turn, you can end with Tremor of Irathiel to attack for a 1 for 6, and that puts it slightly above rate, even though it doesn't give your Mechanologist cards go again when it's boosted. I'm going to have to put it in C tier. Next up is Fiddler's Green. I don't like this card. This card is only blocks 1, right? Like most cards you want to see block 3. Sure, the life gain is nice, but you can't boost it, and it says it's Fiddler's Green, but the top of the card is red, in which case it's confusing. I'm going to put it in F tier. Next up is Rusted Relic. Now, in an interview, James White recently said that Rusted Relic was put in the Antiquity packs because you have to have a lemon every once and again. And I'm not sure whether James White meant like lemon because it's yellow or lemon because it's sour, but I'm going to put it in both B and F tier because the B tier is yellow and the F tier is where we put these kinds of cards. So it'll be in both B and F tier for now until I get a follow-up from James White. Going on to Adaptive Dissolver. Well, I didn't spoil Adaptive Dissolver. I think this card is really good. Arcane Barrier is a little bit less good than Battle Worn, but it is modular and you can equip it to another equipment zone, and it does have the base ability, which means you can put Evos on top. And so I'm going to put it up in A for the adaptive tier. Now, Adaptive Alpha Mold. I did spoil this card. This card has Battle Worn instead of Arcane Barrier. It's base, it has modular, you can equip it to another equipment zone. And I like the art on Adaptive Alpha Mold a little bit more than I like the art for Adaptive Dissolver. And so for that reason, Adaptive Alpha Mold goes up in S tier. Now another card that I did spoil was Tiger Trap. Now, we're saving the best for last here. And Tiger Trap is a card that I spoiled in Compendium of Wraith. And a lot of people said this card wasn't good. They said that I didn't evaluate the card properly because your opponent can just close the combat chain. And I think that they're actually right. And so I'm going to put this card down in F tier. And lastly, LSS reached out to me personally and they said, BIOS update, we're so sorry that we gave you Tiger Trap, but we're going to make it up to you. In Omens of the Third Age, your spoiler is going to be S+++ tier. So I've got to put my spoiler for Omens of the Third Age up in S+++ tier. And with that, that concludes today's tier list. You can see that this completely unbiased, 100% accurate tier list, let me know your thoughts down in the comments below. How do you feel about BIOS update videos? How do you feel about BIOS update the card? Let me know, and I'll see you next April 1st for another fantastic video. Thanks for watching, and I'll prank you in the next one. Bye.